Well, Madam Chair, really, thanks a lot. It's big happiness and privilege on my side to come back to this House. Really, since you are leading the first ever Security Committee, Defense Committee, and first ever Commissioner, this is the first ever forum, I can declare that we are the best. Why? Because there is nothing to compare, We had nobody to compare with us. So we are the best. That's what we need to keep in mind. Second, really, I enjoy very much, discussion with parliamentarians. If you look into my biography, for quite many years, maybe too many, but for 32 years I was member of parliament, national and European, and also at sometimes, leading government. So, and for me, parliament always is some kind of the place where you can exchange very much, open ideas, to have sometimes very, questions, very radical questions, tough questions, without any taboos, and that is what I would like really that we should have also today, the same atmosphere here. And since, I enjoy so much such kind of gatherings, so don't be, surprised that I will ask questions, first of all. Some kind of, rhetoric question you don't need to answer immediately, but just, for us to understand where we are standing and how many questions we shall need to discuss looking into the future. So, really, the title which you put for my discussion, the future of European defense, I could answer in a very simple way. Read our white paper, which we produced, earlier in spring, on the future of European defense, and all the answers you will get. But that would be really not, not a very sincere answer. Because when I am looking into where we are now and what issues we shall need to discuss, all of us, both here in Parliament, European Parliament, in Commission, and especially national parliaments, I would say that we are at the very beginning of what we shall need to decide. And, because in my view, when we are talking about defense readiness, we need to understand that defense readiness has three major blocks or three major elements. One is material defense readiness, weapons, finances, production, procurement, and so on, where we are devoting, much of our attention now. But second is institutional defense readiness, how we are organizing ourselves, especially in this very, very rapidly changing situation. And I will talk maybe more about that, not about, material defense readiness. And then the question is political defense readiness. We can have guns, but we can lose our political will to defend ourselves. Because exactly Putin, with all his hybrid attacks, he is targeting our political will. So those three blocks are, in my view, exactly what we need to have in mind when we are talking about our defense readiness. And definitely, during this year, we were spending a lot of our attention, and majority of our attention, on what I call material defense readiness. We were looking how to raise additional funds, how to make European Defence Industry Programme, EDIP, how to save loans, how to support Ukraine. Today we made very important decisions in the college on so-called reparation loan based on Russian frozen assets. Now it will go to forthcoming council. So really a lot of things are moving ahead. But, again, in this, material defense readiness, we need to understand what is in general, what is the situation and who is doing what. If you will look into next 10 years, and if you will have in mind what member states, national member states, what they pledged for NATO, that they will spend 3.5% up to 2035, if all the member states will do that, I guess that they will do, I hope, then member states will spend for defense during the next 10 years 6.8 trillion euros. Trillion. In next MFF, which we are now presented, the plan for next MFF, we are increasing spending on EU level for defense and space by 5 times, up to 132 billion euros, which means that for defense we shall have around of 60 billion. I cannot say precisely, but around of 60 billion. And what does it mean? 6.8 trillion euros on national level, 60 billion on EU level. It means that all the decisions on European defense are made on national level. Investments are coming from national level. And that is where really we are, we need to start to look more deeply into what questions are coming out from that. For example, at the moment, I see really the issue that member states definitely are concentrating themselves on, how to develop their own capabilities, national capabilities. It's very difficult to raise a question about European issues. How we can overcome industrial, problems, structural problems, fragmentation of our defense industry, because member states are concentrating on national issues. The question is really how we can, overcome, and is it possible to overcome industry fragmentation, not targeting political fragmentation? Because all of us, we have our defense policies as national sovereignty. So, second question, what, again, we need to have in mind. If we're taking seriously what our intelligence services are speaking about, possibilities that Russia can test Article 5 during the next 2 or 3 years, are we ready to use European Union Treaty Article 42.7 for mutual assistance during aggression? Are we prepared for that? My view is that we need to really here be much more precise with our legal regulations, how we shall do that. And question will be very simple, how EU will manage itself during such a crisis of real aggression, and do we have institutional arrangement? And here comes a question again, which we started to discuss. Here was, an idea proposed by President Macron and Chancellor Merkel back in 2017 and 2019 on so-called European Security Council. I will not elaborate too much, but my point is that we need to understand how we can manage ourselves, especially during the crisis, where we need to have much more clear leadership on European Union level, and to overcome this, fragmentation of all our things, up down to 27 member states. So this will be an issue. Now, second question. If we are taking seriously that Americans are, starting to move out from with their resources out from Europe, to Indo-Pacific to mitigate Chinese military power, and they are suggesting Germans to take secure, which is again a symbolic, message. My question is, are we preparing for a European pillar of NATO? Are we starting to discuss those issues? So those are the questions which I really think would be very important, and including the question which I'm always raising, but still, we are not discussing, deeply enough. If we are talking seriously about, that what intelligence services are speaking about, possibility of Russian aggression, we need to understand that in such case, we shall face, or some member states will face, battle-tested Russian army. On our side, on NATO side, we do not have anybody who has such an experience. Only Ukraine has such an experience. So the question is, are we really ready to integrate Ukrainian military battle-tested defense capabilities with our capabilities in order for us to become stronger? And if yes, we are ready politically, so in which way we are going to do that? And here comes the question, are we ready to build a European Defence Union, which could be a possibility, institutional possibility, to integrate into our capabilities Ukraine, United Kingdom and Norway. So I will not, I have plenty of those questions for, looking into the future, what will be important for us to discuss in different formats. I will stop here my introductory remarks. But again, I would like to say that I am very happy to have such a meeting with, possibility to raise all the different questions and without any taboo on defense. And let's look together, how we can find the answers not only to the questions which, we are facing now, with our material defense readiness, where plenty of questions also are, but let's look and let's be brave enough to look into the questions which we need to start to ask ourselves in order to be really defense ready.
Thank you very much, Andreas. And I now open the floor to members of the European Parliament and, of course, of the national parliaments. And we will alternate between MEPs and members of national parliaments. So I kindly ask you to respect the allocated time.